Texas A&M had a win-and-in scenario as well last night on Black Friday when they took on Texas. And they just folded in front of our eyes. Back-to-back years, the Aggies eliminated from SEC championship contention at the hands of their perennial tormentor, Texas. Arch didn't have the best game through the air, completed less than 50% of his passes, but he didn't need to because, once again, Trey Wisner was the name of the game for Texas, had 186 last year against the Aggies, followed it up with 155 last night. Here is what Sark said when he was stumping for his team after the win.
When you play 5 top 10 ranked teams in the regular season, and you go 3-2, you beat 3 of them, and you schedule an Ohio State out of conference play, I surely don't think we want to punish us to do that. Because what are we all going to do? We're all going to get out of those games, just like a lot of other teams in the country have done. And they've got nice, pretty records right now. But they weren't willing to go play these games out of conference. We're willing to go play those games. I just hope we don't get punished for doing that. And this whole idea that, hey, well, you lost to Florida. Well, the team that played for the national championship last year lost to Northern Illinois at home. So we're not going to you're going to punish us, and you don't want to punish them, but yet they were good enough to go play for a national title. So I have no doubt in my mind that the team we have in that locker room downstairs is a playoff football team and worthy of an opportunity to play for a national championship.
All due respect, and I totally understand what he's saying. You can't draw a direct comparison to Notre Dame last year because, A, it was a different year last year.
You're going to make your case.
Yeah, you can make your case.
And we all know, too, that Notre Dame is its own entity that really cannot be compared to, right, when we're going through this college football, right? It's the facts. It is, unfortunately for him. And for Sark, too, I think the other point that's pretty interesting is, like, you know, hey, I get the whole house. Listen, they made this deal in 2014. You weren't even a thought in Texas's radar of being a head coach. So that whole like, oh, we scheduled this and all that. No, they scheduled it in 2014. You're the head coach. You have to deal with it. You played great against Ohio State. That's not our problem. The problem is, yes, it's Florida. It's the fact that it's a 3-8 football team, right, that hasn't won anybody within conference, that completely dominated you. That's the biggest concern, I think, for Texas. Going into overtime against Kentucky and Mississippi State is also an issue, especially after what we saw Louisville do to Kentucky today. So that is where I think the pushback goes on Texas. This is the second time, or the first time, actually, Quintravian Weiser crossed 100 yards this season.
Yes.
All right, so, hey, you're a poor running football team. You're a poor passing football team. You struggle to protect your quarterback in critical situations, and you struggle in the red zone. But, yes, you are a playoff caliber football team.
They have looked like it, and I think that's been
Said that with a little sarcasm.
Well, no, but that's been the biggest knock against that, Scoob, right, is that we just haven't seen it. They haven't looked like a college football playoff team. Is it just a little bit of a too little, too late situation for Texas right now?
I think that's exactly what it is, and the inconsistency of how they have played all season, because there are times where we look at them and we say, wow, that is a good football team. Maybe they've found something. It took a little bit of time. That defense, by the way, is definitely a top 5 defense in the entire country, if you ask me, and you saw how they performed against Marcel Reed and that offense. But the problem with Texas is they're not consistent throughout the game, and they're not consistent at the quarterback position with Arch and the way that they run the ball and the way that they protect the quarterback. But hey, you're going to make a case if you're going to beat the third ranked team in the country. Now, here's some things that Texas fans are going to look at. Only team with 2 wins over teams currently ranked in the CFP top 10. Only team with 3 wins over teams currently ranked in the CFP top 15. So your wins are great, but your losses also count.
Yeah.
It's not just who you beat, but it's also who you lost to and how you lost to. And I think if Texas had kept that game against Georgia a little more competitive, then we would feel more inclined to include them in this conversation. I just think the overtime game against Mississippi State, the overtime game against Kentucky, the way that you lost against Florida, those things are adding up, and that is the reason why Texas is going to be left out.
Just as a curiosity, right? Like, would it have been better for Texas to beat Florida and lose to Texas A&M? Would that still be a more favorable 3-loss football team going to the college?
1,000%.
In the eyes of the committee, right?
It's a better loss.
That's where it's like, it's a weird thing that, like, it's a bad loss as far as the Florida game. Of course, you can't swap out losses and think that you're going to be a successful team. But ultimately, Texas is a good football program. They got a lot of things to build on. And they're, honestly, I think just a year away from being kind of that juggernaut that we expect them to be this year.